Okay, so I just saw the movie. 51 does not. It's not a good score. You know what? I'm gonna give my score after I go through everything. So this is gonna be a spoiler review. I just saw it, so I just got back, turned everything on, I'm ready to go. So I'll start from the beginning. The first scene, they changed the Marvel intro, and I'm pretty sure they probably talked about that at some point, but that didn't sit right with me. So it was just black and it was just black and Marvel was in white. And I was like, okay, I don't get what this is for. It's not like it's some change of the guard or anything. So that didn't make sense to me. Um, but to get into the movie, first scene, the first few scenes, talking, blah blah blah. Then Anthony Mackie comes down, as we see in the trailer. He does the little land, and he's like, "Wait for it," and the shockwave hits. Still don't know how he was able to do that without being a super soldier, but um, scenes after that, he's fighting. Of course, he's fighting some of the people, and there's like a bunch of shots to where you not even like trying to look, you could just see it. It's not Anthony Mackie. It's somebody completely different. I'm like, what? I was like, wait a minute. There's no way that they allowed that to go through because it doesn't even look like him. Like the body shape, the head, skin color, none of it. So I was like, all right, something had to happen here, and I'm assuming it's the reshoots that they had to do, and it's unfortunate because the fighting was good. It's just you can instantly tell it was not Anthony Mackie. So I was like, all right. Um, didn't really make much sense, but I was like, okay, sure. Uh, so on to the next thing. They uh they show Isaiah a lot in this movie, which is good. I'm very happy that they're showing Isaiah Bradley in this movie. Um, but how they did it. So basically, they do that. He gets invited, and he's like, I'm not gonna come unless Isaiah can come." And they're like, "Sure, Isaiah can come." Um, uh, Isaiah does the thing that you see in the trailer. He shoots at the president, and he gets out, and then they capture him. And Sam walks in, barges in. Excuse me, he barged into that meeting room, which would not happen. Well, I mean, I guess it would, but yeah, barges in there. Everybody gets out except for the one girl. She walks in, and he's like, "She's staying." And then the line where he says in the trailer, he's like, "You're not Steve Rogers," and he's like, "You're not. You're right, sir. I'm not." He doesn't say that. That line was not in that movie. That was cut. So that was a L. Another thing about Isaiah, as I said, he's in this movie a lot, and you see him at the gym training, basically Cap, Sam, and Joaquin, which is the new Falcon. I also thought the new Falcon was pretty cool. I was like, all right, he's doing his job. He's not doing anything extra. He's not like soft or anything like that. He's just there and he's doing what he loves. So I'm like, all right, he's cool. Isaiah talks about his girlfriend or wife, I believe. I want to say it was Ruth or Faith. Talks about her a few times, and I'm like, all right, cool. During this entire movie of them showing him when he picks him up, when he sees him at the gym, when he's in prison, yeah, he goes to jail. When he's in solitary, the whole time I'm thinking, even when he gets picked up, I'm thinking, where is Elijah? Where is Elijah? Elijah should have been in this movie multiple times. No chance he's not in this movie. I'm thinking, and it's like, he's not in this movie. I was like, what is going on? of all the things that you've been showing for these young Avengers that you want to get started, you don't show the young black Captain America. Well, kid, I forgot what his name is called. What his actual name is, because I don't remember what he was called. But the fact that you have Isaiah and then Sam as Cap, and he's not in the movie, and it's Black History Month. I was like, what are y'all doing? That is a huge miss by Marvel, because you already showed him before, and you showed all the other young Avengers. Why would you not continue and have him in this, at least into like a small role of when maybe they try to assassinate Isaiah at some point and he's there in visitation and he stops it because, he's a super serum, he's a super soldier kid, basically. So, well, teenager. So that didn't make any sense to me. That was a huge L on them. And I was very disappointed. Like, very disappointed he was not in this at all. I'm like, who's he with? His parents? He's just off back in Baltimore doing nothing, just chilling. Like, no, that should not have been a thing. But all right. Next thing is Sidewinder. So the thing I didn't like about this was they introduced Sidewinder. They don't say anything about the Serpent Society. They just like, oh yeah, he's part of the Serpent Society, and it's just like anybody that's just watching this movie or even previous movies or shows before this, they're gonna be like, who is the Serpent Society? What, where do they come from? Who is Sidewinder? They just threw him in there, and I'm like, I get it. You wanted to have Giancarlo in a role, and he's already stated that he's going to be in more future roles as Sidewinder, but it just didn't really fit or make much sense. Um, could have been other villains used, like anybody, so that we already had a understanding or a backstory on, or at least they could have focused a little more on his backstory. I feel like this movie could have been 2.5 hours long, and we could have got some of that along with other things like Isaiah and some other stuff. So I was like, all right, sure. Um, so yeah, I just felt like it was a way to just have Giancarlo in something and just to like introduce him. But I feel like it was like the worst possible way to introduce him is to have him go up against Captain America, teaming up with the leader behind the scenes and just like give him probability numbers. I was like, okay, sure. Also, to go into the leader, I don't think they even called him that in the show, in the movie. I think they just called him Stearns, or yeah, they just called him Stearns. I don't think he was addressed as the leader, which is very upsetting after watching She-Hulk, and you know that that's basically what he's called. So I didn't like that, but I was like, okay, sure. Another thing I didn't like is the CGI on him. I feel like he should have looked a little bit like his brain should have been bigger. Should have had a little bit more color to it as well. I feel like it was a little bit too dark green, but that's just me. That's my personal opinion on that. I feel like his head should have been a little bigger. He should have not been able to just like, hang out in broad daylight and then be like, "Hi, Sam," like he did at the end. He did that at the end. I was like, how did nobody see this green guy with an exposed brain walking in the middle of the street? And they're like, that didn't make any sense to me. And then he was kind of getting places, like he was getting to a lot of places without being detected. And I'm like, there's no way this guy's just walking through places like that. I was like, they should have did a little bit more to show, at least during one scene, of how he's getting around. Because yes, he can control people, but how many people can he control by just flashing their phone light at him or something? It was like, there's no way. So I feel like they should have did a little bit more on that. But I do like that he was finally brought back in. They even showed old scenes from an old like couple shots from the old Incredible Hulk movie, him turning Hulk and Abomination fighting. I felt that was a good thing that they did. They could have also showed an updated picture of Abomination because he's kind of had an upgrade. So I thought that would have been a, if you want to call it an upgrade. I don't like the fin thing, but I know that's how he kind of looked back in the comics. So I was like, okay, but that's here or there. I feel like they could have showed him in the movie as well. Another thing I heard people complaining about, not really complaining about, but they just mentioned that it looked off, was when when Mackie was fighting that guy without his shield after he ran into Sidewinder and he like power bombed him into the table. I saw people saying something about the uppercut at the end of that clip from the trailer. That uppercut was fine. There was nothing really hokey or off about that fight scene. It looked good. Um, that one was actually tailored really well. It didn't look like it wasn't Mackie. So I was like, okay, this is a good one. I liked it. So yeah, there's that. Now on to the big thing, the Red Hulk. Now I know he's supposed to be Red Hulk for a while before you find out who he is. And I clearly they didn't have much time to do that in this movie. So I'm not like gonna be picky about that. I thought the CGI on him was really well done. I thought how ferocious he was really well done. He was tenacious, I'll say. Like scenes where he was attacking him, it would be like, okay, he's going after him. Like he's not holding up at all. But then my take on that switched when it got to the part where they were in the street. He stopped. And I'm like, why is he stopping? That's the second time he stopped that. He stopped one more time before that. Then he stopped again. I'm like, this is a full rage newborn Red Hulk. He should not be stopping for anything. Like he doesn't need to know where he's at or what he's doing. He's full rage right now. Why did he stop? Because if he didn't stop, Sam's gone. He's out of here. So I was like, okay, I get why he stopped, but he wasn't supposed to stop. So that was one thing. Um, I also felt like the scenes with him. I feel like it was a little too short. They could have added in an extra, I don't know, an extra 3 minutes of screen time with him in action. I feel like that would have been a little bit better for us as viewers. Um, One more thing that was bad actually about him that I personally remember from basically from the comics and from doing some research. He is supposed to be radiating with heat. And you see it when he first transforms, his clothes start burning off. They don't just rip, they start burning off. So that lets you know he's radiating heat. When he's next to Mackie, it's like this not there at all. Like he's not radiating any heat at all. So I was like, wait a minute. Especially when he grabbed his helmet and he ripped it off, like he was breaking it. I feel like his hand was about to touch the skin. And even when he had his wing and he had his backpack, he was really close. So I was thinking like he should be radiating some heat on this suit or on Tamaki in general, and he should be burned or starting to burn, or the clothing should be starting to burn. None of that happened. I was like, wait a minute. Why is he able to just like shrug that off? And or why is that just not happening? I should say. Even when there's a scene where Red Hulk, catches a petal, and it just sits in his hand. And I'm like sitting there looking at it. And the scene is sitting there. It's sitting there for like 3 seconds. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, that leaf isn't burning at all. Like, not even a little bit. It's like, I think they dropped the ball on that because he was supposed to be radiating heat throughout the entire time of being as that Hulk. So that was one thing that kind of was like, I felt like dropped the score on this for me. It's like, you got his tenaciousness right, you got the CGI right, but you guys tenaciousness halfway right. I'll say halfway right, but you missed out on him radiating heat from how he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to just be Hulk. He's supposed to be like a flaming Hulk. I think that's what his nickname is. But yeah, that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, that's not good. But all right. Uh, but overall, as Hulk, to see Hulk like that, I was like, okay, this is what we want from Banner. We want him to be like this again, and I pray that we get that soon. But I don't think we will. But oh shoot, someone else that should have been in this movie and wasn't, because I think this takes place after Secret Invasion, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Someone in the comments let me know. Rhodey was not in this movie, and I don't understand why. Because he's an active military I think Air Force officer, while being, I believe, an associate or a member of the Avengers. And the whole thing is Thaddeus Ross wanted to restart the Avengers. Why would Rhodey not be there? Like, is he still healing from coming out of the cocoon? Is he still healing from learning about um uh Iron Man passing away? Something should have been talked about in this movie about Rhodey, and it wasn't. So I was like, okay, this is off. Uh But then again, I also was thinking like maybe this is before Secret Invasion, but I'm pretty sure it's after, because I think what you see from the end of the movie, Ross is in prison, so his vice president probably took over, which I believe is the guy from Secret Invasion. But they don't really talk about him in this movie or show him in this movie either, which is weird. A conference of president and a bunch of leaders across the world not showing the vice president in that setting is weird. But um yeah, as I said, Ross is in prison. Betty finally shows up. You just hear her voice earlier in the movie, but she finally shows up, which is good. Um and then at the end is basically like the end credit scene. The leader basically says something along the lines of like uh how are they going to do against protecting the world against other heroes, basically. So I'm assuming this is going to be something with the incursion or something like that, to where the worlds collide, and then it's going to be heroes versus heroes to save their own world, which also might tie into Doomsday and Battle World, or I think it's called Battle World. I can't remember, but that's further into the future. To stick on this, so I will give this movie, if I'm going off the tomato meter, I'm going to say a 68%. I don't want to get 70. 70 is too good. So I'm going to give it a 68. I thought 51 is a little low. But if I'm going off out of 5, basically, I'll probably give it a 2.75 out of 5. It wasn't it wasn't bad, and it wasn't average. It was slightly above average. So I'll get it a 2.7.5 out of 5. I'm pretty sure there's some things I'm missing that I just can't think of right now. But if y'all got anything, make sure y'all let me know in the comments, and I'll respond, because I'll you might refresh my memory, jog my memory, and I'll definitely respond to be like, yeah, I forgot about this in the movie. But yeah, that's my score. Um, Make sure y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't going to see it today. They're probably going to see it on tomorrow for Valentine's Day or over the weekend. So if you want to watch this and watch the spoilers, go ahead before then. If not, come back after. And yeah, just let me know what you thought in the comments. And make sure you like, subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.